He makes stuff up all the time, which I love.
Truly, is a world icon.
Well, it felt like we never left. We just fell right back into it.
Detective Foley, you ever read your own files? Shootouts, start of the piece, a lot.
So how many people have you pissed off so far?
I haven't pissed off anybody.
Yeah,
50-50.
50-50.
Is it that high?
So far.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really enjoyed the film. This is obviously a franchise, a series of films which is beloved by so many people, and I've read that you were kind of one of those people before you became involved with this project. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk us through how you became involved and what was your first reaction to kind of getting the call that you were cast in this film.
Yeah, well, when I was a little kid, it was my older brother that was a massive fan of Eddie Murphy and would watch him on Saturday Night Live or watch his stand-up comedy or in movies like Beverly Hills Cop. And I was probably too young, really, to be watching those things. But your older sibling, the stuff they like takes on a certain mystique, there's an aura, I should say, of, it's a little bit forbidden, but it makes it all the more attractive and cool. And so for me, Eddie Murphy sort of is emblematic of that feeling of wanting to understand and like the stuff that my older brother liked. And so, yeah, when I got the chance to play the new sidekick opposite Eddie in Beverly Hills Cop, I was quite happy.
I got a call and said that, doing Beverly Hills Cop 4, take a look at this role. And I spoke to the director, Mark, and he said, we want to expand it a little bit and think a little bit about why, if you have any ideas about how he became who he was, and it became a collaborative kind of process, which was great. I mean, I like that. I appreciate that. And like anything else, you look and you say, can I do something fun with it? And I sort of started hooking into this idea. I was really interested in the idea of a guy who's lost his family and a guy who can't afford to live in the city where he works, and his kind of started out with his heart in the right place, but has gone astray.
Well, once we read the script, it was easy. The writer, the new writer, is Will Beal, was a ex-LA detective and had a really great street sense about it. We wanted to use the first movie as a template. We were hoping to achieve that kind of success with it, and we both felt really good reading the script and what we were getting into, especially that Jerry Bruckheimer was back producing it, and that gave us a comfort zone.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Mark Malloy, the director, about a month before we started shooting. And the first thing he said to me, I want to bring it back to the 80s. And I went, perfect, that's great. And Jerry was involved, and I knew Eddie was not going to do it unless the script was right. So I read the script, and I said, Jerry's here, I'm in. So yeah. I couldn't wait to go to work.
Obviously, among many other things, one of the things that Eddie Murphy is most well known for is his skill at improvising. What was it like to kind of play off him on set? Was there any kind of particular moment where you were kind of witnessing his improvising and playing off it and just kind of going, wow, this is amazing to be doing this with Eddie Murphy?
Absolutely, yeah. He makes stuff up all the time, which I love. And it's funny though, because my instincts for improv are not that of comedian. I'm not one that's necessarily gonna like reach for the laugh, but I think he actually really likes that, because what's maybe counterintuitive about Eddie Murphy is that as big and bombastic as his comedy can be, I think what people love about his performances is that there's always a core that's a very real human person. Even when he's wearing all the prosthetic makeup or whatever he's doing, there's always that human core. And so when I would improvise with him, I would always just try to respond to his improvisations with a real and honest response. And that would engage him and give him new ideas. And so I think we kind of bounced off of each other well in that way.
He's a very relaxed and a very immediate sort of actor. It's like he feels like very unrehearsed and very real, and that's good because I think that really keeps me on my toes. You know, I have to be ready for anything that he's going to kind of throw at me, and yeah, it was really fun to be in scenes with him. You know, he is truly is a world icon, and I put him up there with, working with Nicholson and Meryl Streep and, Eastwood. I've worked with a lot of great kind of iconic people, and he's definitely one of them.
And it's a quite interesting kind of dynamic between your character and Eddie's character, Axel, obviously. Can you kind of talk a bit about that dynamic? What was that like on set, and how does it kind of feel to have that dynamic with Eddie?
Yeah, well, my version of the sidekick character is the guy that where the Axel Foley signature con artistry doesn't work. Because my guy is sort of the more maybe modern, emotionally intelligent action hero cop guy. And Axel Foley's whole thing is he can fool anybody into doing whatever he needs to solve the case. And so I wanted a sidekick that wouldn't fall for it, that could actually push him back and be a formidable peer in that way. To me, that's where you get an interesting dynamic, especially when this is the fourth movie in the franchise now.
And how similar was it being back on set with, so many returning faces? It's not just the two of you and Eddie. There's a few kind of recurring characters. Did it feel much like it was back in the 80s when you were making the film? Did it feel like kind of no time had passed?
Well, it felt like we never left. We just fell right back into it, I think we had developed our characters so well in the first one that it was pretty easy for us to just fall right back into it. So it literally, it felt like we were there yesterday.
Yeah, the three of us, something good happens when the three of us are together. It gives us a comfort zone. We just know something good's going to happen. For me, Billy is definitely older and more experienced and not as naive, and I like that.
Did you have any fun kind of filling in the gaps of the story from what's happened to both of the characters since we last saw them? Did you have conversations about other things that they might have been up to in that time? There's
a lot of movies that feel, a lot of sequels that feel like they have to fill in every gap for the audience, and they become so expositional, and it's not really necessary. I like that we didn't feel like we needed to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How vividly do you remember watching the first Beverly Hills Cop for the first time? Is that quite a strong memory for you?
I don't remember the first time, but I can guarantee that it was in a theater, that I bought my ticket, that I sat down with some popcorn and loved it. It was an infectious movie. The combination of, Eddie's charm and star power and it's the great fish out of water story, right? Coming from Detroit, and he's a Beverly Hills Cop.
Do you quite like the idea of fans kind of watching all four films now in maybe one sitting? Kind of the idea of they've got the four films, some from the 80s and then the 90s film, and then jumping forward in time. Do you like the fact that exists as a quartet?
Yeah, I mean that's what I did. When I was getting ready to do the movie. Of course, I'd seen the other ones, but I decided just to catch up, and I went back and. I didn't do it in one sitting. I don't think I could sit for anything that long, but I did it over the course of 3 days, and yeah, it was great. It was a great. I think people will enjoy doing that. I mean, I hope that people go back and watch the old ones.